Say, Ray, what's the name of that nightclub of yours? Oh, you must be talking about the Boom Boom Room. Yeah, the Boom Boom Room. I can't wait to see it when you get it up and running and all pretty looking. Yeah, me too, Ray. Me too. I like to see that room too. I tell you what, you should have been in there last night. Satchmo nearly blew the roof off the whole place. You mean Louis Armstrong? Well, you know, that's what I call him. I call him Satchmo. Who else was there, Ray? Say, man, don't nobody want to hear that bullshit, man, about no boom boom room. Would you be quiet? There you go. You always saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. Just shut up. Keep going, Ray. Go on, take it, Ray.
Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Torry here with another struggle review, here to discuss Life. Now, this movie stars Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Now, before I get into why, when you go back and watch this movie as an adult, it hits you so much harder at how comical this is and yet how sad and realistic this story is. I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things. What would you do? Get up on my feet and stop making tired excuses. What would you do? Girl, I know if my mother can do it, baby, you can do it. What would you do if your son was at home crying all alone? Hopefully subscribe to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. I have to give a shout out to the subscriber who paid for and requested this video. If you are enjoying and having a good time with this video, she requested it. It's all on her. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and my content. Now, this movie was directed by Ted Demme. He also went on to direct things like Who's the Man and Blow before he shortly passed afterwards. Getting into the movie, this is probably the best performances in my eyes between both Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. With the both of them, their comedy sometimes it's more of a hit, but sometimes it can be a miss when I feel like in films both of them oversaturate themselves and we get movies like Norbit and Big Mama's House, even the Blue Streak. Even though, you know, there are places and times for movies like that, and not to say that they aren't hilarious, but it's just not them at their best. And neither one of them get to just, you know, get really deep and give us dramatic roles. But this movie had the perfect combination of them just being absolutely freaking hilarious and still giving us, you know, some drama. The movie was deep. And this movie was not even financially successful when it came out. Rotten Tomatoes, it didn't even recoup the money that was spent on it. This was not a hit. Now, this movie is also fictional, but there is so much truth in the fiction. Prison is an extension of slavery, for those who didn't know. Slavery was a big part of the economy, especially in the South. And when the slaves were freed, the South took a big financial loss in general. Immediately after those slaves were freed, there was this big boom in mass incarceration and men, women, just period, being incarcerated, you know, for petty, minor crimes. And all of a sudden, we had all of this free labor again. You were immediately put right back into slavery for a petty, minor crime. Or, like our gentleman here, you maybe didn't do anything at all, and you were strictly incarcerated for the free labor. But you know, thank goodness, things like that aren't happening anymore, and going to prison isn't so much about the labor. People are incarcerated for real things now, and nobody's going to jail if they didn't do anything. right? Right. Now, we immediately begin the story with our old timer paying his respects to his now deceased friends, Ray and Claude. We start off with him telling some inmates, about their life story and how they even wound up in prison, which leads us back to Spanky's in 1932. Now, we are introduced to Ray first. Ray Fun! Ray is a hooch-making, fast-talking pickpocket who is really innocent enough, but he's always kind of looking for a hustle, a quick come up to get him his very own club, Ray's Boom Boom Room. Now, we are also introduced to Claude. Claude has a girlfriend and a bright future. He's just got a new job as a bank teller, but he is, for the better part, no better off than Ray is. And I didn't notice that watching it before. Even though we have Ray, sizing him up as, an easy pick. But you went to Monroe? No, I went to Jefferson. Back the fuck up and get away from my wallet. They are kind of one and the same at that moment. Even though Claude may feel like he's better than Ray, both of them at that very moment have something in common, which is ambition. Both of them have dreams and goals, even though Claude's is, more straight and narrow. He's trying to work at the bank. And Ray is all about the boom boom room. Both of them striving to do more and, dream in 1932 and have some source of independence, some income. Both of them are kind of on the same path, but just, kind of taking different roads. Now, due to a big coincidence of not only Ray trying to pickpocket, how about we leave you with your legs? My legs? Oh, yeah, my legs. Claude owes someone, and they take all the money out of his wallet. Now, both of them are into it with Spanky. Spanky here is portrayed by Rick James, bitch. When I was a young boy, growing up in the ghetto, hanging out on corners, singing with the fellas, hey, looking for the cute chicks, ooh, trying to find me, bitch. Okay. I was young and crazy in the ghetto. Okay. I fuck with Rick James. Anyway, Spanky is not having it, but dropping. Like, what the hell does dropping mean? Like, Martin and Eddie did such an amazing job here. But to save the day, Ray gives, some of that bathtub brew, some of that hooch, and say, hey, I have access to this. There's more where this came from. If you just let me go get it. But I don't want to get knocked out getting to it. So I'm going to take him that you're dropping in the water. We're going to get the hooch. And we're just going to come back and live our lives. Right? Right. Now, with them getting on the road, I do think that we should take into consideration that we don't know what Spanky and them would have done to Claude if Ray wouldn't have saved him. I'm just saying. But we see just how much they disagree with each other, just how opposite they are and disrespectful they are towards each other's goals and ambitions. Like, oh my God, you're a bank teller, like that's woman's work, and what is this, my dad is watching, ain't no boom boom room, you ain't shit, your mama. Like, it's just no respect given. I want to do what I need to do and I want to go. They are so completely opposite from each other. Well, we have, Claude, who's very straight and narrow, quite responsible, level-headed. Ray, on the other hand, is, kind of wild, a little sparky, like he's looking for a good time. He's all about, the sparkle, the pizzazz of life instead of just, like, let's do what we need to do and go. All the way until we get into, injecting some comedy once again into a serious situation with the segregation. So you say about 95 miles, like... Like, how do you know my name? Where it says it right there on your shirt. Well, yeah. Well, let's talk turkey. How much it's gonna cost to turn one of them white-only pies into nigger pie? How about I turn y'all into nigger pie? Like, so you said 35 miles. But you see, even then, that Claude, wants respect, for who he is. He is also a bit naive to think that he could go into an establishment like that and just be respected as a black man. Whereas you have Ray, on the other hand, like, let me just offer money. We should be able to fix anything with money. And we see that continue all the way up until they get into prison. Now, we get into the story taking a turn for the worse when the boys go up the hill. And we get into, I ain't never seen you in here before. What's your name? Claude. My name is Claude. got any money, Claude? Like, it's just a whole hustle. That whole Up the Hill situation was a juke joint of saying, like, we bringing in the newcomers and we taking them for everything they got. You got any money, Claude? Why you want to go? What you want to go home for? Like, we have, you know, Claude wrapped up in Civvy, and then you have Ray over there losing all his goddamn money to goddamn Clarence Williams III coming in with a brief little cameo as a hustler, fucking shit up. Like, you just see how risky and optimistic Ray is to not only, you know, gamble away all the money that they made and money that they have to get home, but also gamble away that goddamn watch that he already made very clear that he loves so much. Like, what a girl at who was working this table? What girl? Whichever bitch I started choking when I come back in here. Like, they both get taken for all that they had. Not only does that happen, but, you know, don't you even fix your mouth to say, man, fuck that watch. So funny, man. Fuck that watch. What? I'm sorry, man. Don't you ever say watch again. Your ass better say little clock or something. You fix your lips to make it look like you don't say watch, and I'm knocking your ass the fuck out. Like, Eddie Murphy was very much giving Harlem Nights with his role here. It was very, very good. But you see that lurk go from, you know, bad to even worse, because the same Clarence Williams who took the watch gets harassed and beat up and sliced and diced by this crooked ass sheriff, and they take the fall for it. Like, they just happen to stumble up on the body and they're left in a, you know, difficult situation. It's just like, man, the turn of events. But it just goes to show you, you know, how stuff can happen in life, and they just wound up being blamed for it when they did not do anything. You know, hey, let's talk turkey. I can call Spank my boss man. Spank, like, no, hell no. Life, they automatically got life just based off the word of one sheriff and, you know, some hillbillies in a county. And especially back then, it says a lot for how those situations can happen. That whole entire time, that crooked sheriff, all the way up until we see him later on in their later years, was only thinking about himself, protecting the crime that he committed in killing that man in those years of free labor. Now, right after that, we get into you run afoul to Bob, you run afoul to May. Ain't no fences here at Camp 8. We got the gun line, boss, New York City. We get into the very realistic situation of them being thrown in prison, no questions asked. And per usual, these officers, you know, Camp Bob, they want nothing more than to break them down and break out, you know, all that New York City swag. You are not in New York City anymore. You are in Mississippi, and you will fall into line. You see them being penalized for the smallest little indiscretion. It's hot, boss. Oh, he say he hot, boss. Like, it's like, no, you are reduced to a number. Anybody you thought you were or what you thought you were going to do, it does not matter anymore. You are state property at this moment. You're not only property, but you're going to be working on the chain gang, breaking rocks, digging holes, planting your own food. Like, your life is not yours anymore, and you didn't do shit. Like, it's crazy when we see, even now, a bunch of cases being overturned where someone was innocent and they spent a good life of their fucking prison for nothing. Like, it's one thing, like, if you did something, like, you did not do anything. And we also get into the very, very realistic situation of, not only did we not do anything, but we are being thrown in here with, you know, men of all different colors. We have murderers in here. It's so much in here. We have to conduct ourselves accordingly and be hard. Which brings us into you go eat your cornbread. Now, right before we get into you gon' eat your cornbread, we have a very, very funny yet serious scene, like all the scenes in the movies, of the man getting letters and them not being able to read. Now, we do have to remember that this is 1932. A lot of people didn't know how to read, but you have a group of men where no one knows how to read, and Ray reads that goddamn letter, just like the dog died, your mama died, auntie, sister, cousin died, sister died, Aunt Merlene died. Oh, they died too. Anybody else want some bread? No, hell no. Don't read anything. We also have Bernie Mac giving one of his best performances. How you doing? My name's Jiggling. Oh, your hand's nice and soft and supple. like lady. Eyes forward, mister. Like, we get into, you know, hey, what I tell you about pitching wool on the job, boy? You get no booty on the job. This is work hours. No booty will be gotten doing work hours. Why do you think they call him Jingle Leg? I don't know, but you're gonna find out before I do. We're gonna dive more into Jingle Leg and his, you know, whole relationship with Biscuit. But, you know, once again, that's a whole that comes with the territory of being in prison. A lot of men who go to prison do not go into prison gay or liking men, but due to circumstances and you maybe being in prison, you know, for a long extended period of time, or you having, you know, life in prison, you take what you can get and you form relationships with people and sex that you never thought that you would. Eyes forward, mister. Then we get into that really big infamous scene. You know, he killed some bitch with a claw hammer when he was 13. So they say. A lot of people say it though. She's my half sister, so I chops her ass in half. Like, I love how they just throw away him being, you've been in here since you were 13. Like, yeah, there were no laws, no nothing. Like, if you were 12, you could be thrown in here with all types of caliber of men. Like, there was no chain of command for shit. But you can Claude, you know, being seen as soft and aggravating people, and Ray wanting him to tone it down and not only do that but stand up for himself. So when we get into, you know, what y'all do, we went on a killing spree, and you know, it's gonna be some consequences and repercussions, and I'll pop off. Like, we have to adjust to the atmosphere. We can't come in this bitch and say we ain't do nothing. Up until, you know, you gonna eat your cornbread. No, I want you to have it. Now let me go on up there and get his own cornbread. How about I eat your cornbread? Anybody, like, oh my gosh, like that whole tough facade. It's gonna be some consequences and repercussions. Wop. But, you know, it's another moment of comedy being injected into a sad situation. Like Ray said, you know, you give up your cornbread now, you're gonna be giving up a whole bunch of shit later and washing his drawers for the rest of your life up in here. We're not doing this. You're not getting my cornbread or his. Like, wop, wop, wop. Goldmouth stole off on that ass and Ray passed out. You still ain't get my cornbread, Claude? Wop. You was scared, huh? Don't be scared. While we get more into their friendship or lack thereof of what they formed, even though they have formed some type of relationship and for the most part have had each other's back, more so Ray than Claude, at the first opportunity that Claude has a chance to get out and get an appeal, he does not think of Ray and solely blames him for the predicament that they are in, even though it was a full-blown accident. Have host and I'm like, then did you go see my cousin Melvin? Like, yeah, nigga, I went and seen him. And he is hoping, you know, to get that appeal and get out, and does not think of Ray. But we have Ray always thinking of Claude, you know, hey, Cookie made a map for us to get out of here. We can do this. Pretty much including Claude in every step of the way. We came here together, we're leaving together. And it took Claude a little bit longer to leech on to that type of mentality. But I love the fact that he even threw in that there was a map when we know later on there was never a map. He just knew that he wouldn't come if there wasn't one. Like, he had his back from the very beginning. I was thinking about you. But before we even get there, we get into Ray's boom boom room. We get into them really fantasizing about, you know, the outside world and just drifting off into dreaming, which is all that you can do when you are in prison. Those times and those moments mean absolutely so much. Man, don't nobody want to hear about no damn Ray's boom boom boom. Go to sleep. Go on, take it, Ray. And we get into the cut. We get into the hit. I got a man that's more than 8 foot tall, 4 foot shoulders, and that ain't all. Here's a king size papa. You get into them just slipping off and just imagining what the club would look like, who would be there, the gambling, the girls, the singing, the women. And it's just a beautiful thing to see, but it's also really sad. So many things here are funny, but they're so sad that that's all that they can do. When you have life, all you can do is fantasize until the goddamn police come in. Boy, I don't want to hear another peep. Like, oh my God, the little Bob was a miserable little dude. Like, Lord, Bob, let us fantasize. Worse than Claude. Now, right after that, we get into SOFT, soft. And Ray's brilliant plan to start up a whole fight to get those New York City rocks. Like, brilliant. But I love that scene when they actually start to run away. You really see where their loyalties lie as far as each other is concerned. Not only do we have Ray not wanting to exclude him and making up the fact that there's a map just so Claude could come, but when Ray gets stuck, even though they are this close to getting away, Claude comes back to get him and they get thrown into the hole. Like, they were so loyal to each other when they didn't have to be, and that was very commendable for the situation that they were in. Now at that point, the guys have been in jail for almost 15 years and still have not lost hope, because we get into Can't Get Right. We get into Can't Get Right and Bokeem Woodbine delivering a really understated performance, being that he doesn't say a word the whole entire film. But, you know, his emotions convey and come across really well. You know, that's Can't Get Right, boss. He can't talk. Can't Get Right can't talk, but he can play some goddamn baseball. And a lot was to be said about, you know, him playing baseball and y'all willing to let a black man out of prison to play ball. But other than that, his ass would have stayed in there with everybody else. But whatever. We get into Can't Get Right, and you know, this puts a big fire under their asses. Like, oh my goodness, we are coaching him, we're helping him. This is just as much an opportunity for us to get out as it is for Can't Get Right. Like, but Can't Get Right is looking at little Rosie Mae's ass. That girl got game. She grew up and out, and that just, you know, goes to show it how much time has passed. We saw her as a small child, and now she's a big girl. And bring me that baby. Where's that baby? I love when we get into that baby scene. It's funny, you know, I'm that baby's daddy. I'm the pappy. I'm the paw. Like, I'm the pappy. Like, they were so, you know, down for each other that they were willing to risk it all. Like, I'm willing to step up and say I'm the dad, just so Can't Get Right can have an opportunity to get out of here. But not only does he have an opportunity to get out of there, he gets a contract, gets signed to a team, but they don't agree to take Claude or Ray, even though they helped him get to where he is. But this, you know, opens up to a turn as far as their relationship, because it's just like, oh my God, we're in here almost goddamn 20 years. I thought this was our chance. This completely finally breaks Claude, and it's just like, I give the fuck up. We're gonna rot in this fucking jail. We're never getting out. But it never really broke Ray's spirit. Even though it didn't, it affected their friendship for the worse, and they separate after being in this bitch. Like, we were never friends. We've just been stuck together for 20 years. Like, oh, you cut me deep, Shrek. You cut me deep. But we get into the prison taking a whole turn with that situation. But we also get into Biscuit. Biscuit's situation was very realistic with him, you know, forming that relationship with Jangle Egg. Like, you're about to get out. Like, I can't go home to my mother like this. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? I'm, you know, conditioned to be this way here. It's okay for me to be Biscuit in here. I can't be Biscuit in the outside world in front of my mother. Prompting him to, you know, cross those lines and run and get shot. It's just like, y'all actually shot him, and you see, like, nobody expected for him to be shot, and you see, you know, Jangle Egg just take a serious moment to go, like, oh my goodness, like, I just lost my love. Like, it was real deep, because, like, even though I'm not actually gay and we're in a relationship in here, you see them at that point having this little conjugal little thing. Little Sylvie brings some girls to the jail, and it's just like, you know, he's over there dancing. Like, this is not a by choice situation. When these men are sure to get out, they're not going to be Jangle Egg, and Biscuit anymore. Like, how am I supposed to go out and be this way? Oh, the trauma. Now we get into a really sad scene. We get into that time passing. You know, we see Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, the Panthers, everything changing on the outside world, which is sad. Like, it's almost like you're in prison standing still, and everything you've ever known is completely disappearing. We get into the man being in prison for 30 fucking years for something that they didn't do. And now, you know, they're much older man. Anybody who was there and came in there with them, who they were friends with, are all dead. Like, where is the goddamn hope? Because I wouldn't have had none. Oh, it's just such a, you know, a testament to how strong they were, because when we get into a goddamn whites only pie scene, Martin ass Claude goes to steal that pie, and it's just like, oh God, goddamn, this shit's hot. prompting him to, stand on those bottles. And we have, the warden go, hey, if you shoot him right now, I will open the goddamn gates and just let you out myself. Just like, no, I'd probably shoot you with it. 30 years later, even though we have not spoken and said a word to each other, I'm still not going to sell him out. Claude is still my friend. We still have a connection, whether Claude likes it or not, prompting him to get back on them bottles too. Them shaking on them, got goddamn Ray, my damn toes in the bottle. Like, I miss talking to you, Ray. It's such an adorable moment, but then it's just like, damn, 30 years. When you get into their spirit as far as freedom and their friendship not wavering, 35 years plus into being in prison for some shit that you never did in the first place, it runs freaking deep, because everybody can't say that they would be the same way. Now we get into the man getting much older, so much older. They've been in prison for 40 years now. Getting into the old age makeup done here by Rick Baker, the same man who did, Coming to America, so many movies, so much horror, really, really talented. But the older they get, the funnier and funnier the movie gets, and their banter back and forth. Hey, yard boy. This could use some fertilizer. You get into Ray being suspicious, like, oh, you're bonding at the big house with the man a little bit too much. You got a plan. I know you got a plan. But what you want to talk about, Ray? What you want to talk about? How about I just want to go to sleep? Yeah, go to sleep. I hope it's the long one. Like, fucking hilarious. So funny. But even at that point, in their old age, you still have these two men maintaining their innocence. They never gave up. It could have been so easy just to fall into them being institutionalized. Like, maybe I deserve this. Just internalizing everything that happened to them for no reason. But no, they were still, why you gotta be so nasty, Ray? Because I'm a nasty motherfucker. What you got brewing? I know you. I know we up to something. Why folk come? I can't just sit here and watch your ass. What you want, Ray? Huh? What you want to talk about? Funny. Now, with the boss trusting them so much in their old age, he allows Claude to be his driver and entrusts that he won't just run off. Why you gotta say nasty shit? Because I'm a nasty motherfucker. Like, Ray was so bent, like, are you gonna leave me? Like, don't leave me, nigga. If you got a plan, take me with you. But not only does he not have a plan or intent to run off, he goes out into the world and gets the revelation of, time didn't stop. We're in the 70s now. I've been in prison since 1932. The world went on without me. There isn't, so much segregation. We see, people of all colors together. We see people walking with a whole handheld radio. Shit done changed. Not only is he having the revelation of the world went on and now I'm an old man. Who am I? Who would I be if I was to run off and go off by myself? But not only am I not, because I still have respect for myself as a man. It's the same goddamn The superintendent is the same goddamn sheriff who locked him up in 1932, and he's still the same nasty, selfish, scarred, ornery asshole that he was back then. And then we get into that revelation of him locking them up when he knew that they didn't do anything and the crime that was committed, because not only does he admit to it, but he has daddy's watch. Like, oh, you get that scar too? Like, at least the state of Mississippi got 40 years of free labor. Like, you motherfucker, you done took our life up. Give us the gun, Ray. Like, they were still, standing hand in hand and side by side. And, the superintendent at that moment gets that big revelation of, you guys really didn't commit that crime. I'm going to sign these papers. I'm going to make sure you guys are free. And it's just such a vindicated moment. Like, yes, even though the guys are so much older now and they've lost so much of their life, they're going to finally get to be free and live some type of life. No, he freaking has a heart attack and dies, and they remain in prison all the way on up to the infirmary. Talk about depression. Why was this funny? Why were we laughing? This is sad as fuck. We end the story with the men getting even older in the infirmary, so much now that they are 90 plus years old. Like, bruh, we on deck. The upper room, with the kids that I'm keeping it real, we on deck. We next to, like, before it was Claude, kind of being the Debbie Downer and no longer like this is what it is and being very accepting. But now it's the opposite. We have Claude, who all of a sudden in his old age, like, yes, I finally have a plan. Like, this, what you mean you got a plan? We on deck. Where are we gonna go? Why would we even want to go? We are fucking 90 years old. Oh God, like it is so terrible. But Claude winds up with the plan and it actually works. They have a whole fire, whole situation break out and replace their bodies with, you know, some old corpses from the infirmary, and they escape that way. Like, so you telling me this not Ray and Claude Gibson in these boxes? And who is it, old time? Like, I never said it didn't work. Not only did it work, but these dudes are at the freaking basketball games at the stadium, 90 years old, finally free. Like, it was, you know, it was not a vindicated moment. Watching this recently on Netflix, I know you guys seen it, it's on Netflix. It was not a heartwarming moment. I remember I used to watch that scene and laugh so much, like, oh my God, they finally got out. What would you do if your son was at home? You know, I was mad at you about something. Like, it's like, you know, at least they got out even in their old age. Like, no, it hits a whole lot harder now that they spent their entire fucking life in prison. Did they get pardoned? Did they get out? No, they had to still weasel and work and finesse their way out of prison for a crime that they didn't commit at 90. Bruh, like, oh, this was not good. But in spite of, you know, the harsh situations and the reality of the story, this is such a funny goddamn movie. It's never not going to be funny. And it don't even stop getting funny when it goes out. What's wrong? Your mustache too big? Like, goddamn, it was to be. The bloopers are hilarious. This movie is just a classic, and it is such a good time. Even though it's a harsh ass situation, we can still look back on it and laugh, even if they got out at 90. Well, you guys, that was my review for Life. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed going back to watch this. I think when the older you get, the harder it hits in the story. Not that it gets, you know, less funny, but it's just like, y'all really didn't get out. But you guys drop down and tell me how you feel about the movie. Did you like this review? What's your favorite scene? What makes you laugh the hardest? I see you guys next time for my next review.